Good morning, everybody. Uh, Today, I have to start with the dictation part. Yesterday, I talked about patterns of migration, patterns of migration during colonial period. So yesterday, I explained in detail about indentured labor migration, Kangni and Mestre labor migration, and free or passage migration. Right. So let's start the dictation. Historically, three distinctive patterns. Historically, three distinctive patterns can be identified. Historically, three distinctive patterns can be identified during the colonial period. During the colonial period, first, indentured labor migration, which was also officially known as Girmitia system. First is indentured labor migration, which was also officially known as Girmitia system. Second was Kangni or Mestre labor migration. Kangni or Mestre labor migration. And third is free or passage migration. Third is free or passage migration. Now first, indentured labor migration. It began in 1834. It began in 1834 when slavery was abolished. When slavery was abolished in British Empire. When slavery was abolished in British Empire. Labor was still needed. Labor was still needed to work on the plantation field. Labor was still needed to work on the plantation field. Consequently, just leave consequently. Labor was still needed to work on the plantation field because without dependable supply of labor, because without dependable supply of labor, plantation could hardly survive, because without dependable supply of labor, plantation could hardly survive. Consequently, the Britishers followed the practice of consequently the Britishers followed the practice of Latin American consequently the Britishers followed the practice of Latin American and Cuban colonists who were importing Chinese indentured labor who were importing Chinese indentured labor from the Portuguese settlement of Macau, who were importing Chinese indentured labor from the Portuguese settlement of Macau. Now you change the paragraph. Indenture is a contract or an agreement by which labor comes into an agreement with the employer in front of a magistrate and through this agreement labor is bound to work for a given employer for a fixed period of term which usually varies from 3 to 5 years period, performing the task assigned to him for a specific wage. Performing the task assigned to him for a specific wage. After the end of the contract period, labor is legally free either to re-indenture with the same employer, or he is free to work elsewhere in the colony. After the completion of 10 years period, labor is entitled to two benefits. First, subsidize return passage. Subsidize return passage. And second, was offered a piece of land with some money. The labor mostly opted for the second option. The labor mostly opted for the second option because it gave them a sense of security. Freedom and ownership. Hardly anybody opted for the first option because there was a strong notion prevalent during those days. That's it. Under this system, labor were mostly exported to Girmitia countries. In bracket you write Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname, Guyana, Fiji, and Mauritius. Bracket close. Now Kangni system, or Mestre labor migration. So Kangni is derived from Tamil word Kankani. Kangni is derived from Tamil word Kankani, meaning overseer, meaning overseer, or foreman, meaning overseer or foreman. Kangni himself, Kangni himself is an Indian diaspora. Kangni himself is an Indian diaspora who used to recruit labor who used to recruit labor by paying them in advance for expenses, who used to recruit labor by paying them in advance for expenses. Under this system, labor were mostly exported to under this system labor were mostly exported to Sri Lanka and Malaysia. Sri Lanka and Malaysia. Now Mestre. This system was more or less characterized by this system was more or less characterized by employer, middleman, and labor relationship. Employer, middleman, and labor relationship. Here the middleman also known as charge mestre, or labor contractor used to earn money both from the labor and the employer. Used to earn money both from the labor and the employer. Now, under this system, North and East Indian labor, North and East Indian labor were mostly exported to Burma. Now, free or passage migration. Free or passage migration. This was the third form of Indian migration. This was the third form of Indian migration within the British Empire. Within the British Empire, under this system, people used to pay from their own pockets. From their own People used to pay from their own pocket to move out of India. To move out of India. Under this system, Punjabi and Gujarati traders, under this system, Punjabi and Gujarati trader moved out of India and settled in East African countries for example Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. That's it. Okay, so let's start with the fresh topic now. So the first topic is, who are Indian diaspora as per 1955 Citizenship Act? So they are basically NRI, PIO card holder and OCI card holder. Now what we'll be doing is, we'll be discussing this under these 5 heads, that who is NRI, PIO card holder, OCI card holder. Then what all benefits they get, what all restrictions can be imposed on them, how much fees they have to pay, and how citizenship can be acquired by them. Right. Now, regarding the abbreviation part, NRI is non-resident Indian, but that is not the meaning of who. Who is NRI? So NRI, basically he or she is an Indian citizen, Indian passport holder, but they ordinarily reside outside India for more than 182 days in a year. And that's why they are called NRI, that more than, you can say, for 6 months they are outside India. So that's why they are non-resident Indians. Even people who are on United Nations assignment, for example, peacekeeping force, etc., they can also be accorded NRI status. Even people on government assignment can also be accorded NRI status. Right. So basically NRI is an Indian citizen, Indian passport holder, but residing for more than 182 days in a year outside India. Now, PIO, person of Indian origin. So from the name itself, it is pretty much clear. Person of Indian origin. So currently, what is the status of that person? He or she is not an Indian citizen. He or she is foreign citizen, foreign passport holder, but their ancestor have their roots in India, and that's why they are called person of Indian origin. Clear? Then regarding this card, now this is the interesting one. Now you have to understand here why the government has to introduce this card. Now let me also tell you that, see, basically this card was introduced. Why? And why government brought these two cards? So that we have to understand. Now we have already talked about high level committee on Indian diaspora, and hopefully you remember that they were interested with tasks like how to define diaspora in Indian diaspora, and then other task was to how to bring diaspora closer to India, Indian diaspora closer to India. So this high level committee, when they were touring the world in order to understand the need of the diaspora so as to bring them closer to India. So wherever they visited, especially in developed countries, so there was a huge demand for the grant of dual citizenship. But India has been a proponent of single citizenship, except in the case of children, where it allowed them to hold dual citizenship until they come of age. But the demand was so intense from the diaspora of the developed countries that when High Level Committee submitted its report to Government of India in 2001, it recommended to the Government of India that necessary changes should be made in 1955 Citizenship Act and to give dual citizenship to Indian diaspora in developed countries. But practically for Indian government, this was not feasible, neither possible, on account of many concerns. For example, the diaspora who were living in developing countries, especially in Asia, Africa and Caribbean countries, they did not subscribe to dual citizenship because their country did not provided dual citizenship. So the government of India was in a fix how to move forward. So after lots of discussion, it came up with a solution and it took a middle path, because see, it did not wanted to discriminate between its diaspora, because if it is going to provide dual citizenship, then the diaspora living in Asia, Africa and Caribbean countries have to renounce their citizenship of their country in order to acquire Indian citizenship. So what the government did, it took a middle path, and the middle path was it restricted all political rights, but it bestowed economic privileges. And even these economic privileges were not absolute, but were limited. That is, they were not allowed to indulge in sale and purchase of agricultural and plantation properties. So, what was the final outcome? The final outcome was this card, PIO card, and a follow-up OCI card with more benefits. And so this card is also known as limited form of economic dual citizenship card, because it restricts all political rights but bestowed economic privilege, limited economic privileges, and that's why it's known as limited form of economic dual citizenship card. Now for this, necessary changes were done in December 2003, and amendment was carried out in 1955 Citizenship Act, and a whole new section 7 was added to 1955 Citizenship Act. which provides who is eligible for PIO card and who is eligible for OCI card sector, right? So mostly OCI card related eligibility. So I hope it's clear. Yes, definitely anybody who is working in a government assignment, so he will be. No, at least see the period technicalities part is that at least it should be for continuous 2 or 3 years. Then only you will be accorded that as status, not the temporary that in one visit you will be staying for more than 6 months or so. So question was asked. So that's why I'm answering that question. Okay, so any problem uh, in this PIO card and OCI card? The explanation part which I gave right now. So do you have any issues related with that? Okay, I will give you dictation, no problem. So who is NRI? I already told you. Who is PIO? I already told you. Now, who is eligible for PIO card? Now try to listen it very carefully because it's technical. It says any person who at any time held an Indian passport or he or he or she or either of their parents or grandparents were born in or were permanently resident in India as defined by Government of India Act 1935 or belong to a territory that became part of India thereafter, provided that they have never been a citizen of Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now, I'm repeating it once again. If you would listen to it carefully, lots and lots of things will be clear. Any person who at any time held an Indian passport or either of his parents or grandparents were born in or were permanently resident in India as defined by Government of India Act 1935 or belong to a territory that became part of India thereafter, provided that they have never been a citizen of Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now here a word of caution. Don't think that it is only the neighboring countries. Recently, till the time this card was in use, so recently government of India also put Iran in this list because uh, see difference between PIO card and OCI card I am dealing just right now. So now you will know what is the difference. See, if you go by the definition of PIO, so if you are if they are those person who are from undivided India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh region, can we call them PIO? And are they eligible for PIO card and OCI card? See better, after independence, when Pakistan was made, so it was previously East and West Pakistan. So that's why, and from 1971 it became Bangladesh. So we omit them, we keep them out. They are not eligible for this card, right? Okay, I'm repeating PIO card once again for your all benefit, but I will take question at the end. You people send questions, so I'm tempted to take it, but now I will take the question. Uh, say around 12:45 or so, right? Not before that. So PIO card eligibility criteria. Who is eligible for PIO card? See, it says any person who at any time held an Indian passport, any person who at any time held an Indian passport or either of his parents or grandparents were born in or were permanently resident in India as defined by Government of India Act 1935 or belong to a territory that became part of India thereafter, provided that they have never been a citizen of Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now, the name of these countries doesn't mean only neighboring countries. Recently, the government of India also added Iran in this list. So, it is the prerogative of the government. And how government does it? The government does this through assessment report provided by Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, and Ministry of External Affairs. So depending upon their assessment report, the government may include or exclude the name of the countries from the list. Okay, now OCI card. who is eligible for OCI card? Now again listen very carefully. It says a foreign national, a foreign national who was eligible to become citizen of India on 26th January 1950 or was citizen of India on or at any time after 26th January 1950 or belong to a territory that became part of India after 15th August 1947, provided that the country where he or she resides offers dual citizenship, provided the country where he or she resides offers dual citizenship in some form or the other under the local law, then he or she along with their minor children will be eligible for OCI card, provided that they have never been a citizen of Pakistan and Bangladesh. Clear? So, who part I hope is clear. So, let's write about the who part first. So, by writing it again, it will be more clear to you people. Now, uh, why Myanmar is not in the list? I told you, beta. It is the prerogative of the government, depending upon the assessment report submitted by MOD, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, and Ministry of External Affairs. So, upon that assessment report, the country's name is included or omitted. Okay, anyway. So, write about who. You can either write in column or you can write a heading who, then 1 NRI, 2 PIO, 3 PIO card holder, 4 OCI card holder. Whatever way suits you, you write like that. So, NRI, an Indian citizen who is ordinarily an Indian citizen who is ordinarily residing outside India, in bracket more than 182 days, more than 182 days in a year, bracket close, and holds an Indian passport and holds an Indian passport. Now, PIO. A person, PIO, person of Indian origin, a person who or whose any of ancestor was an Indian national and and who is presently and who is presently holding another country's and who is presently holding another country's citizenship, that is, he or she is holding foreign passport. Now, PIO card, who is eligible for PIO card? Any person who at any time held an Indian passport, any person who at any time held an Indian passport, or either of his parents or grandparents, or either of his parents or grandparents were born in were born in or were permanently resident in India, or were permanently resident in India as defined by Government of India Act 1935, or belong to a territory that became part of India thereafter, provided that they have never been a citizen of Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, China, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Recently, the government also added recently the government also added Iran in this list. Now OCI card. A foreign national a, fo- a foreign national who was eligible to become citizen of India on 26th January 1950 on 26th January 1950 or was a citizen of India or was a citizen of India on or at on or at any time after 26th January 1950 or belong to a territory that became part of India after 15th August 1947, that is Goa, Sikkim, etc., provided that the country where he or she resides provided that the country where he or she resides offers dual citizenship in some form or the other under the local law, then he or she along with their minor children will be eligible for OCI card provided that they have never been a citizen of a citizen of Pakistan and Bangladesh. Okay, so who part is over? Okay, one question popped up. So since I finished who, then I will start with benefit. So I'm taking that question. So is an American green card holder Indian still an Indian citizen? Yes, why not? Because America is offering dual citizenship. So he doesn't have to renounce the Indian citizenship, right? So that's it. Yes. Okay, benefits. NRI, what all benefits NRI get? See, since he or she is an Indian citizen, Indian passport holder, so what all benefits a Indian citizen enjoy, same benefits NRI enjoys. Now regarding PIO, person of Indian origin, no specific benefit except those specified on the visa. And why the government will give them benefit? They are neither Indian citizen nor Indian passport holder. Now for PIO card holder, yes, the government is giving them certain benefits. And those benefits are, just try to listen carefully. See, the day on which this PIO card is made, see, the question was asked in civil services regarding Bharat Vansi card. So it was PIO card, person of Indian origin. So in Hindi it is, you can say Bharat Vansi, भारतीय मूल के व्यक्ति या भारत वंशी. So we are talking about benefit. So the day on which this card is made, PIO card, from that date till 15 years, no need of visa for visiting India. So PIO card holder can visit India without visa for 15 years. Second benefit, if in single stay or in single visit, the stay doesn't exceed for more than 180 days, then in that case, PIO card holder need not inform anybody about their visit. Got my point? Third, in case of a visit in which the stay period exceeds more than 180 days in single visit, stay period exceeds more than 180 days, then after the expiry of 180 days and within the next 30 days, he or she has to inform the nearest FRRO that is Foreign Regional Registration Officer about their visit. I am repeating it again. If in single visit PIO card holder stays in India for more than 180 days, then after the expiry of 180 days and within the next 30 days, he or she has to visit the nearest foreign regional registration officer and inform them about their visit. Now, OCI, sorry, first benefit I talked about, second benefit I talked about. Now the third benefit, PIO card holder are held at par with NRI. PIO card holder are held at par with NRI in three fields: educational field, financial field, and economic field. In these three fields, PIO card holder are given same benefits as NRI. So these are the benefits given to PIO card holder. Now what all benefits OCI card holder gets? So first benefit is it's a multiple entry, multi-purpose, lifelong visa for visiting India, which basically means that once the OCI card is made, then till the time that person lives, no need to get visa to visit India. Second, exempted from the process of registration for any length of stay in India, which basically means that if OCI card holder stays in India for few hours or stays in India forever, no need to register with any authority. Third benefit, OCI card holder are also held at par with NRI in economic field, financial field, and educational field. So these are the benefits given to PIO and OCI card holder. So okay, before dictation, lots of question came. Indian ambassador residing outside, yes, he called NRI. Yeah, sir. What are the nationality of people in POK and Aksai Chin? The day they will be merged with India, all their people will become Indian citizen. If any PIO card holder gets imprisonment, then his or her PIO card will be cancelled. Yeah, definitely. If PIO card holder or OCI card holder, if it is offense which is probably detrimental for India's interest, then definitely it will get cancelled. Okay, so let's write about benefits. NRI, all benefits as available to all benefits as available to Indian citizen because because he or she because he or she is already an Indian citizen. PIO benefits we are talking about. No specific benefit, no specific benefit except those specified on visa, except those specified on visa. PIO card holder benefits. First, the day on which PIO card is made, the day on which PIO card is made, from that date till 15 years no need for visa, no need for visa to visit India, no need for visa to visit India. Second, if in a single visit PIO card holder stays in India for less than 180 days, for less than 180 days, then there is no need to inform anybody about their visit. Third, in case PIO card holder in a single visit stays in India for more than 180 days, then after the expiry of 180 days, and within the next 30 days, and within the next 30 days he or she has to visit the nearest FRRO that is Foreign Regional Registration Officer and inform them about their visit Now third, PIO card holder are held at par with NRI in educational field, economic field, and in financial field. Now, OCI card benefits. Benefit number 1, it is a multiple entry, multi-purpose, lifelong visa for visiting India. It is a multiple entry, multi-purpose, lifelong visa for visiting India. Second benefit, exempted from the process of registration for any length of stay in India. Exempted from the process of registration for any length of stay in India. Third, OCI card holder are held at par with NRI in financial, economic, and educational field. Financial, economic, and educational field. Now restrictions. NRI, no restrictions. PIO, everything is restricted. PIO card holder restrictions. First one, all political rights are restricted. Second, cannot indulge in sale and purchase of agricultural and plantation properties. Third, cannot undertake mountaineering, missionary, and research work because these require a specific government permit. And fourth, cannot venture in prohibited area, neither in restricted area, because this also requires government permit. So let's write about restriction. NRI, nothing is restricted. PIO, everything is restricted. PIO card holder, first, all political rights are restricted. All political rights are restricted. Second, cannot indulge in sale and purchase of agricultural and plantation properties, cannot indulge in sale and purchase of agricultural and plantation properties. Third, cannot undertake mountaineering, missionary work, and research work as these require a specific government permit, as these require a specific government permit. Last one, cannot venture in prohibited area, neither in restricted area, because this also requires a specific government permit. Now for OCI card holder, same restriction applies, that whatever restriction applies to PIO card holder, same restriction applies to OCI card holder as well. Now regarding fees, there are three scenarios. First scenario is if PIO wants PIO card, then in that case adult has to pay 15,000 rupees or equivalent in local currency, and the minor up to the age of 18 years has to pay 7,500 rupees or equivalent in local currency. Now second scenario is if PIO card holder wants to upgrade to OCI card, then in that case he or she has to pay US dollar 25 or equivalent in local currency, right? And the third scenario is if PIO directly wants OCI card, then in that case he or she has to pay US dollar 275 or equivalent in local currency. Clear? So this is the fees part. Now if you now let's write about it. There are three scenarios with respect to fees. There are three scenarios with respect to fees. First, if PIO wants PIO card, if PIO wants PIO card, then in that case the adult has to pay 15,000 rupees or equivalent in local currency. Second scenario, if PIO card holder wants to upgrade, if PIO card holder wants to upgrade to OCI card, then he or she has to pay US dollar 25 or equivalent in local currency. Third scenario, if PIO directly wants OCI card, then in that case he or she has to pay US dollar 275 or equivalent in local currency. Now regarding citizenship, see, for NRI no need to acquire citizenship, already an Indian citizen. Now for PIO and PIO card holder, as per section 5(1)(a) and section 5(1)(c) of Citizenship Act, as per section 51A and 51C of Citizenship Act 1955, he or she has to reside in India, for a minimum of 7 years, before moving an application for the grant of Indian citizenship. So if that criteria is fulfilled, then depending upon the government may or may not provide citizenship. Then how OCI card holder will get citizenship? See, the registered OCI card holder may get Indian citizenship after 5 years from the date of registration, provided that he or she stays in India for 1 year, and during that 1 year stay, he or she is not allowed to leave India even for a single day. Now let's try to understand this. Now suppose I am a OCI card holder and I registered I got OCI card. Say today is 1st August 2023. So I got OCI card on 1st August 2018. So today I am eligible, provided that during this particular period 2018 and 2023, any 1 year I have stayed in India, and during that 1 year stay I haven't left India even for a single day, then I will be eligible for what you can say Indian citizenship, depending upon the government. So if the government thinks that okay, I will be getting Indian citizenship, they can grant me, or they can also refuse it, right? Okay, so let's write about it. NRI, no need to acquire Indian citizenship, because already an Indian citizen. Second, PIO and PIO card holder, as per section 51A, and section 51C, of Indian Citizenship Act 1955, he or she has to stay in India for a minimum of 7 years, before moving an application for the grant of for the grant of Indian citizenship, for the grant of Indian citizenship. Now OCI card holder, registered OCI card holder, registered OCI card holder may be granted Indian citizenship, may be granted Indian citizenship after 5 years, after 5 years from the date of registration, from the date of registration, provided that, provided that he or she stays in India for 1 year, for 1 year, and during that 1 year stay, and during that 1 year stay, he or she is not allowed to leave, is not allowed to leave India even for a single day. Not allowed to leave India even for a single day. If this condition is fulfilled, if this condition is fulfilled, then he or she may be granted Indian citizenship. So now let me take some query which has come. See, due to question I get distracted, and the continuities, what you can say, is not there. So it's like a knee jerk type of thing. So anyway, I told you that I will be taking around 12:45, but still you are posting questions. So let me take the questions. Sir, what are the nationality? People in POK. See if any POK. It's okay, I have answered this. Sir, Nepali and Bhutani citizen can visit India with without visa and work here without restriction. How India can treated them as NRI or foreign citizen? So who is telling you that they are not NRI and neither they are foreign citizen? Basically because we have a special treaty with them. We have a special treaty with Nepal that is known as Treaty of Peace and Friendship, which was signed in 1950. It dates back to Sunoli Agreement. Similar kind of treaty we have with Bhutan. So that's why special preferences and treatment are given. Now any Indian who is an employee under Indian government can marry a Pakistani or Chinese or Bangladeshi girl. Yeah, legally, if they are married, there is no problem. But if there is some illegal angle attached to it, then definitely there will be a problem. The country is not barring anybody or barring any country for marriage, etc. Okay. See, now we'll be dealing with a difference between the 1955 Citizenship Act and what major changes were brought about in 2015 Act. So, see, there are four major changes. Now, it will be relatively easy for you to understand the changes because you already know about 1955 Citizenship Act. So, the first major change pertains to the citizenship aspect. Just now we discussed, especially with respect to OCI card holder, wherein I told you that the registered OCI card holder may be granted Indian citizenship after 5 years from the date of registration, provided that he or she stays in India for 1 year, and during that 1 year stay, he or she is not allowed to leave India even for a single day. So, if that condition is fulfilled, then the person may or may not be granted Indian citizenship. So, this was the earlier provision under 1955 Citizenship Act. So, this particular provision has been done away with in 2015 Act. So, what is the new provision? The new provision is now a person, they are OCI card holder, now they are allowed to leave India for a total of 30 days, and still if the government is satisfied, he or she may be granted Indian citizenship. Second, this particular 1955 Citizenship Act, it defined OCI, but this 2015 Act, what it did? It expanded the definition. it expanded the definition of OCI. Now try to understand how and what was done. You know the definition of OCI, that any foreign national who was eligible for Indian citizenship on 26 January 1950, right? So 1955 Citizenship Act defined OCI, and under this definition, if you go, then he or she along with their minor children were only eligible for OCI card. No, but no, not any other ones were eligible. But under the expanded definition, what the government did presently, it included the minor children of NRI, a spouse of NRI, a spouse of PIO card holder, a spouse of OCI card holder, and great grandchildren of a person who was Indian citizen after 26th January 1950. I am repeating it again. It defined OCI, it expanded the definition of OCI to include whom? Minor children of NRI, a spouse of NRI, spouse of PIO and OCI card holder, and great grandchildren of a person who was Indian citizen after 26th January 1950. Clear? Now, third, there were separate provision for PIO and OCI card holder. Separate provision for PIO and OCI card holder. Now, under 2015 Act, now see, now in separate provision, as you already know, PIO card holder got less benefit, OCI card holder got more benefit. So what the 2015 Act did, it merged both the PIO and OCI card into single OCI card, because it did not wanted to discriminate between its diaspora. That's why both the card were merged into single OCI card, meaning by that all PIO card holders were upgraded to OCI card holder automatically, right? Now, no provision in this regard because see, when you expanded the OCI definition to include the spouse of PIO and OCI card holder, then you have to put cancellation clause. So since that clause was not here, so no provision in this regard under 1955 Citizenship Act. But since this clause was inserted or expanded, so how under what circumstances the OCI card can be cancelled? So under two circumstances the OCI card stands spouse OCI card stand cancelled. First instance, if court dissolve their marriage, that they are legally divorced or separated, then their OCI card stands cancelled. And second, if a spouse marries another party, if spouse marries another party without divorcing, then in that case also card gets cancelled. So no time for dictation, so dictation will take after break, but time to take question. Maldives and Myanmar both are neighboring countries, but why they are PIO card holder? So where it is there that neighboring countries should not have PIO card. See, PIO card provision, if you go through, just go through the eligibility criteria at least 5-6 times, that who is eligible for PIO card, then you will clearly understand that why Maldives and Myanmar. Regarding both these, I will tell you, and probably you didn't listen. I have already answered this question, that it is the prerogative of the government of India, right? And it depends upon the assessment report of Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, and Ministry of External Affairs. So they may be having certain internal mechanism for including or excluding the names of the country. So that is not in the public domain. So I may be not in a position to comment on that. Sir, please say this line once. Missed few parts. Uh, Beta, can you please just mention the line from where you missed? Just hint one one word, so that I can at least know about it. OCI card of a spouse can be cancelled under two circumstances. First, if court dissolve their marriage, and second, if spouse marries another party without divorcing. No, because Uganda and Seychelles are not Girmitia countries. I gave you the name of Girmitia countries. There are 5 Girmitia countries where labor went under agreement. Those countries where labor went under agreement are known as Girmitia countries. And the countries are Trinidad and Tobago, Fiji, Suriname, Guyana, and Mauritius. So in these 5 countries during colonial period, labor went under agreement. Sir, what is the difference between diaspora and refugee? Rajshri, uh, probably, yeah, Mike. I think uh, I will have to explain it in a different way. Uh, you mean to say that refugee also maintain their distinctive identity, and that's why they should also be under diaspora, right? So, one thing I will tell you with respect to India, and then you can correlate it with it. See, India is not signatory to Refugee Convention, UN Refugee Convention. So, India is under no obligation to accommodate people. So, whosoever comes illegally into India, so they are not given refugee status, but they are given what you can say they are called illegal migrant. Illegal migrant, right? So that is one. So in case of India, since we are not signatory to refugee, so we don't recognize refugee as diaspora, right? But definitely, you are correct in that sense that the refugee probably moves from one country to another and take refuge, and because of push factor they might have gone out. Okay, okay beta, so I'm taking leave and we'll be meeting after break. Thank you.